Welcome to the Miracle You, guiding you on the journey towards finding passion and purpose and how to discover, create, and live a life by your design. Whether your success has been plentiful or your missed opportunities have been overwhelming, we can help you become a more empowered, masterful person and show you how to share your gift with the world. It's time to inspire change from within with the host of the Miracle You, Vince Kramer.
Hello, imagination. I'm Vince Kramer, your host, and welcome to the Miracle You, where you learn about the magic of living your life by finding the example in real life. We are all living a journey on this earth, and the journey that we're living is to uncover and discover the amazingness that we are, to understand that we are different than each and every person. And what we've experienced personally or professionally is not necessarily a reflection of exactly who we are on the inside. The opinions and judgments of others have influenced us in so many ways. Some of the influence is to drag us down, to keep us stuck, to not allow ourselves to be all that we can be. And those judgments from others, in many cases, result in us having opinions and judgments about ourselves. But when we move beyond those opinions and judgments, we can truly step into what our gifts are and how we can tap into the knowingness of the universe to bring our gifts, to bring our talents, and to make the difference that we're meant to make in this world. I'm with Naranjan Nota today. Naranjan is a spiritual guide, mentor, and teacher. She helps you identify how others' opinions and judgments may deter you from meeting your goals, both personally and professionally. Naranjan spent over 15 years in the corporate and not-for-profit sectors as an employee and consultant. Simultaneously, she spent over 2 decades learning and reigniting her energetic gifts, working with the unseen higher realms, and bringing them into a form for humans to understand and process energetically. Naranjan, are you ready to share the miracle of you with the imagination?
That's a big ask, but absolutely, I'm willing to share everything that I know from the purpose of what is it that people potentially are ready to receive.
And it's so exciting for me to have you here. We're so aligned with what we believe, we're aligned with what we shared with the world. And I think it takes so many of us to really be following this purpose to make this difference in the world, because we are opening up as a world and moving in from let's just say the old paradigm of I and me into the new paradigm of we. And it's nice to have people to, one, share this information with the world because it's so important for us to get, but also to coach people through the process, because as your bio said, the introduction said that 2 decades, it's not something that happens overnight. And it's nice to have somebody to walk beside you or push you when you need to be pushed, or pulled from front sometimes when you need to be pulled. So before we dive into what you're sharing with the world, could you share a little bit more about who you are and what you're doing in your business?
I feel very fortunate, very honored, but also take on a huge responsibility of doing the work that I do. It didn't come easy, but it definitely came to a place of realization of this is what I'm here to do. So my purpose and what I'm doing is guiding, supporting, and mentoring individuals on their evolution only for their soul, but the evolution of their consciousness, because there is a greater reason of why we are here. And it's a huge responsibility for every single human being who chooses to embody their soul or not. It's their responsibility to do the work here. It's a ride. It's a fun part of life for sure. There's some great parts of living here on Mother Earth. But with that comes an element of responsibility that we have to take, and I support individuals through that process.
It's so important, and it's needed across the board for so many of us. I know that you shared that through your growing up, and even in the intro, we shared that you learned from others, developed your beliefs from other people, followed society's rules, or the patriarchal rules through life initially. What was it that was the wake up call for you that said, "Oh, it's time for me to live life a different way. It's time for me to find who I am."
Well, as you've said, Vince, it's not an overnight aha moment, or well, it wasn't for me. For others that I know on this path and journey, it has been, but for me, it hasn't. It's a continuing process of how much more of this can I take? And really, is this all this is meant to be? We go to school, we get indoctrinated in a system and a society, and we come out of it going, this is it? 2 weeks vacation, white picket fence, and a dog and a couple of kids? Really? Surely there's more. Surely there's more. So for me, it was having that curiosity, and even during these 2 decades, it was having that continuous curiosity of going, what is on the other side of being embodied as a human being? So the mystical, the esoteric, and all of those unseen parallel worlds that we have access to is where I was drawn to like a magnet, and I continue to be, which is why I truly feel I'm really in the right place doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
And that's such a great feeling. And I truly believe that we brought this purpose, we brought this divine intent into the world. And as then we discover, there's more for me, I need to show up in a bigger way, that also helps others do the same. And I love the way you said it, that we all have to do this. We all have to accomplish why we're here, because we're truly a
Yes.
puzzle of helping each other through the journey. And in that journey, there's expansion, not just for us, but the entire universe expands as we expand and grow. So it's important for us to find that. And what you shared about, is this all there is? There's got to be more than that. The white picket fence, those are all wake-up calls of sort. And I think it's important for people to understand that that's your higher self getting your attention, saying, there's more for you. There's so much more for you. You walk that journey, and then I love the way that you use it. You opened the backpack. Tell me what open the backpack means.
As we go through life, we collect experiences. Or let me backtrack for a second. As we're born with a backpack because we're on a journey. This life is a journey. So we have this imaginary backpack, if you will. And as we go through experiences, we collect these rocks. And some of these rocks are really painful and really heavy, perhaps when you were reprimanded as a child for putting your fingers in that socket, or stealing somebody else's lollipop, or kicking or screaming in the grocery store. Doing things that we do as human beings as we develop our own ego and we go through life experiences. We go to school, we grow up as children, and the dynamics between our nuclear family and the external family, all those experiences garner a rock. And each rock represents an experience that is triggered to an emotional pain. And we collect those over the years. And then as we get older, we figure life is hard. And it gets heavy and it gets burdensome and it's just drab. And all of that, from my perspective, comes from the rocks that you have collected over the years, growing into an adult, growing through the phases of life that haven't been addressed and haven't been looked at, but rather adding more weight to your beingness. And it's only when we are courageous enough to open that backpack and go, okay, I need to look at some of this stuff: abandonment, pain, guilt, shame, isolation, all of those painful experiences that have been shown up to us. Not to discount or discredit the people who have raised us, our parents, our siblings, our family, our community, but rather looking at it as, I have chosen to pick up that rock and put it into my backpack. That's my choice. So therefore, it's my responsibility to unravel it and look at that rock on all facets of its beingness, and then work through that process.
And that's quite a process. What are some of the things that you use to help people go through that process?
A huge dose of courage, strength, and unconditional love. Because what we know for sure is, in order for us to carry those rocks and have those rocks in our backpack, there's a huge sense of no love accessible to us, be it from others or from ourselves. So my process is to create a loving and secure and non-judgmental space as somebody goes through that very vulnerable and courageous space of looking at that rock and going, oh yeah, that's when my sister hit me. Or that's when I broke up with that boyfriend. And it was kind of my fault, not their fault. So being courageous to look at that.
As we look at those rocks, in my opinion, and what we share through Imagine Miracles, each one of those rocks, although it seems to be a burden, there can be a gift in those rocks. Can you talk to that from your perspective?
When we look at the rocks, we often look at them as, I am the victim, because I'm holding the rock. I'm holding this backpack that's weighing me down. So I'm the victim. So when we can look at a rock and say, okay, if I'm the victim, the other person had perhaps installed that experience for me, how can I look at it from a different vantage point that takes me out of victim mode, so I can feel empowered and learn from that experience on another level? The person did that for a reason, to circle me back to how much do I love myself.
You know, a co-creation to help us see things in a different way, and our original perception might be one of pain,
Yes.
as you shared. But I love the way that you said, if we look at the beingness of the rock from all angles, we can uncover a new perception, and choose a new perception if we want. So in reality, then, if we do that, all those rocks in the backpack could kind of be the foundation that we build, or the platform we build for us to climb up on top of and share our message. Is that true?
Absolutely. When we look at them from a different facet, we're then able to give it back. We release the heaviness and the burden of it. So therefore it makes you lighter, because you're now letting go of a huge rock, a huge perspective that you thought was painful. And as you shed those rocks and give them back to Mother Earth from an energetic standpoint, then we've all been in that situation where we feel lighter. Oh my gosh, I could tackle the world. Let's do this. What else is there? What else is possible for me other than holding on to a painful past? Then the communication with your higher selves and other unseen world beings become more receptive. to having those conversations.
And it's all a process of, the rocks. I love the analogy of the rocks in the backpack, but really also then those rocks are surrounding your heart and keeping your light in, right?
That's right.
So let me ask you this: if we don't look at the rocks, and I want to kind of look at your past a little bit in explaining what happens when we don't look at the rocks. You said, as I was doing research, there was a part that you said that you were hurting emotionally, spiritually, physically, and that created aches, pains, and illness in you. Could you talk to what happens when we don't look at the rocks and how it can affect us in those ways?
If we come from the principle of every single thing is energy and every single thing has a vibrational frequency, physics 101, right? Us as human beings are a huge cluster of energy cells. The words we speak, the thoughts we think, and the actions that we take. So if everything is energy and we're energy, we have all these layers of energy that permeate out of a cluster of energy. Just as a vibrational frequency does for a body, as it does for a plant, as it does for anything that's living. So what happens is, I'm a believer that experiences that show up in our lives will trigger a thought. And as it triggers a thought, we have a choice of, do I want to engage in that thought, or do I want to just shiny object syndrome and look at something else? I chose to do that on a number of occasions in my life. From the relationships I were in, the conversations I'd had, the work that I did for a living, how I lived, what I lived for, all of those components were thoughts that kept coming in, and every thought got louder and louder. And as it got louder, it permeated in our energy body, so auric field, energy body, whatever you want to call it, getting closer to my physical being, to this huge cluster of energy that I am. And as it gets closer, then it starts manifesting as a disease in the physical body. So for me, it started showing up with other ailments in my life. Things weren't happening as smoothly and as gracefully as one would expect, because we've been built on this huge expectation of what life should look like and how it should roll out. And when it doesn't, that's when I sit back and go, something's not happening. Something's not jiving here. So for me, it was physically being impacted in how I act, behave, and live through the world. So it was my own health issues that really triggered that. And I went, okay, no, I need to relook at life.
I think it's so interesting because, and thanks for sharing the physics part of it, because a lot of people don't realize that thoughts have a vibration, a frequency. They don't realize that their emotions have a frequency in a vibration, and emotions, especially if we don't allow ourselves to emote. And we've been told, it goes back to the rules, right? We've been told that we're not supposed to emote. If we hold on to those emotions, that low vibration is going to go somewhere, and there's a part of our body that resonates with those emotions. And the body is a great communication system, because where we feel our aches and pains, we can find where we're holding on to those lower vibrations, and I think that's huge. But it can be such a wake-up call for people then to realize, hey, I'm not feeling good. Is it just that, oh my God, poor me, there's something wrong with my body? Or is your body saying to you, hey, pay attention here, because I'm here to help you on the journey.
That's right.
So as people start realizing that, there is more to life, And I'm being called to find myself. I'm being called to find my journey. Do you have any specific steps that you would share with someone to help them start that process?
To be kinder to yourself. Depending on what stage that they're at, I would definitely say to be kinder for yourself and install maybe one or two habits for yourself. I know it's been overused of it's me time, self-care, all those terminologies have have become exhausted and have really lost the pure intention behind it. So I would say do something that you enjoy doing. Doesn't have to be a huge activity or a task, but it could be just sitting and reading your book for 5 to 10 minutes. But relishing and being in your own space, being in your own energy, and perhaps even just placing your hand on your own heart of capturing that love that you have for yourself as you would for your children, your grandchildren, your dog, your parents, whomever you have in your life that you love. Turn that around and see what it feels like for yourself. And feel into it, really embody it.
Is that bringing yourself into a higher vibration so you can walk this path by giving? I It sounds to me like what you're sharing is that the calmness, the peacefulness, the growth, the expansion has to happen inside before you can see it on the outside. Was that what you were sharing?
Ultimately, yes, it is, but it's through awareness. I mean, how much of the world, or even for myself, way back in the day, I used to live my life in default and I wasn't really present and I wasn't really aware. So I didn't really know what my body was telling me. So by going inwards, you tune into your own body and you go, oh yeah, there is a pain in my left knee. What's happening there? Oh yeah, I forgot. So tuning inwards and opening the opportunity for awareness, I think, is where the magic really is.
It sounds like you're sharing that the present moment's inside of us.
Absolutely.
That's powerful, and I've never heard it said that way before. That's one for me to write down and to explore even deeper. That's pretty amazing. What would you say is the hardest step to start going through the process of learning and reigniting your gifts?
Disconnecting from the system. And I say system loosely in the terms of what is it the media is telling us? What is it the world has indoctrinated within us? All of that language and dialogue and expectation of if you do A, B, and C, you're going to walk out with G, F, H. Like, it's actually not. So if you can go to a place and be truly curious about what it is for you rather than having the opinions and a judgment of others saying, if you go through this process, this is what's going to happen. But what we know for sure is it's not. Because your experience and my experience are going to be very, very different. So let me unravel it for myself and let's see what happens. So not allowing that others' perspectives influence how you choose to take this journey.
We truly are unique. I think we're just pushing 8 billion people now, and each
Yeah.
one of us is unique. And in that uniqueness, we have to understand that we can take things from others and see where this could support me or this could support me, but we still have to have our set of rules, right? And then in having our own set of rules, that's when we can start uncovering. And I know we're getting close to our the end of our time, but I want you to share a little bit about the unseen higher realms. What does that mean for you, and why is it important for the audience to know?
It means to me that we have so much more accessibility to expand the consciousness of every single soul on the planet and the consciousness of this planet and the galactic system beyond. The vibrational frequencies that are connected to levels of consciousness are literally at our fingertips. We have more access to them today than what we did even 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago. So the accessibility and the openness and the willingness of the other realms, unseen world, are so eager for us to truly live a life in lightness and in joy and in abundance and with zero limitations and with so much love. That's all there waiting for us, more so now than ever. So it's our responsibility and our opportunity to leverage all of that for the good.
Just like us, those higher levels of consciousness, those higher frequencies, no matter what you call them, they have a purpose too. They have a reason too. And their reason is to help us on our journey, because on Earth is where the expansion happens, or the other planets. And that's a whole nother discussion that we can have. And I'm pretty sure that there's no doubt in my mind I'm going to ask you back. So if you would love to come back and share in the future, yes, it would be so awesome. With As we're running out of time, is there one thing that you want everyone to take away from our time together that will help them on their journey?
Stay in a place of gratitude. As challenging life can be, whatever shows up today, tomorrow, next week, move to a place of, I'm grateful to have my water. I'm grateful to have the roof over my head. The longer and the more you can be in a place of gratitude, the more you will recognize your environment change and how you move through the world will change. That heaviness of all those rocks won't feel as heavy.
Hmm. That's something for each and every one of us to hold on to. Naranjan, how can people get in touch with you?
They can reach me at my website, which is brightshininglight.com. I'm available on Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn, either under Naranjan Nota or brightshininglight.com. And I would love to support those who are really ready and open to taking the next leg of their life in a more empowered and a lighter way. I'd be honored to do that.
And I'll make sure all that information is available on the show page for Naranjan. Just go to themiracleu.com. You can find that information. And if you do go to our website, there's a free gift available to you. And I think each and every one of us should take advantage of the generosity of what Naranjan's offering through her free gift. I want to thank you so much for being here today. I loved our conversation. Like I said, we probably could talk 5 or 6 hours straight with all the things that we would like to bring out and share, and the amazingness of who you are. So thank you for your time, and thank you for already offering to come back, because I'm sure both episodes are going to be extremely popular.
Yeah. I'm so grateful, Vince, for you holding space and creating an opportunity for me to share. So I'm honored and I'm grateful, and thank you.
It was my pleasure. On behalf of Mary, my wife and business partner, the entire team here at Imagine Miracles, we want to wish each and every one of you a miracle day.
You've completed this episode of The Miracle You, but we have plenty more to help you discover your own personal passion and purpose. Head over to themiracleyou.com for free resources to assist you on your journey, as well as register for our free webinar, Discover Your Miracle Life, 3 Mind Awakening Steps Toward Your Unique Purpose, or apply for a one-on-one Your Life, Your Way breakthrough session and discover your next best step on your journey. All available exclusively on our website. That's themiracleyou.com. We look forward to sharing more experiences of passion, purpose, and life by design next time, right here on The Miracle You.